News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 98.3 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Republicans choose Greg Gianforte to challenge Rob Quist for the House seat. Good morning, everyone. Montana Morning. It is Tuesday, March 7th, 2017. Right now, the sky's cloudy. It's 23 degrees. We do have some pretty slick roads out there. Snow and ice on Interstate 90 heading east, west, and north out of Missoula. On Highway 12 from Lolo Pass down to Lolo. Highway 200 east out of Missoula to Clearwater Junction, all snow-packed and icy at this time. And our newscast this morning sponsored by Selway Armory on Stockyard Road with more guns and ammo than anyone in Missoula, Montana's premier firearms dealer. This morning's top story. With more than 150 votes on the first ballot, Bozeman businessman and former gubernatorial candidate Greg Gianforte has been chosen by the Republican Party to face off against musician and political newcomer Rob Quist for the U.S. House seat vacated by Ryan Zinke. Sue Orr of Missoula was at the convention in Helena for KGVO News and was able to talk to Gianforte immediately following the ballot.
The number one thing I heard over the last 2 years from I've traveled to every corner of the state is that there's just too much federal overreach. So we're going to focus on policies that will clip the wings of the federal government to get the power back to the people.
Gianforte said he looked forward to the challenge of facing Democrat Rob Quist in the special election on May 25th.
I was surprised with the selection because here's an individual who is in favor of sanctuary cities, advocated for a national gun registry, and said everyone would vote for socialism if we just picked a better name. So I don't think those are Montana values. And I don't think Montana wants to send a court musician back to help Nancy Pelosi.
Gianforte is attempting a political comeback after his defeat last fall in the governor's race against Steve Bullock. He says Montana needs a representative willing to work with President Donald Trump. Gianforte has pledged to run for a second term in 2018 if he does win this year. Zinke and the previous office holder, Senator Steve Daines, both served only one term. With more, this special election is scheduled for May 25th. The legislature has not yet decided if it will be a mail-in ballot only or a traditional polling place election. Former Missoula County Undersheriff Jason Johnson, who recently retired to purchase Montana Electronics, said there is no conflict of interest due to the fact that his former boss, Sheriff T.J. McDermott, is a silent partner in the business. Montana Electronics provides communications equipment and services to a large number of businesses in the western Montana area, including Missoula County, but not, Johnson said, to the sheriff's office.
There's nothing unethical happening in the midst of that. What would be unethical is if the sheriff did business with a company he owns, and that's not happened since we purchased the company, and it's not going to happen. That would be unethical.
Chief Deputy Missoula County Attorney Jason Marks said he provided a legal opinion on the ownership of the company.
I provided him with a written opinion essentially saying the Sheriff's Department cannot do any business of any sort with Montana Electronics while he's sheriff, but that there is no prohibition on other county agencies making purchases from that business.
Johnson said his company has plenty of other customers without having to do business with the Missoula County Sheriff's Office.
Missoula County is important to my business because they've been a customer of Montana Electronics for a long time, but not the Sheriff's Office. We'll be just fine without that business, and we have lots and lots and lots of other customers to look after as well.
T.J. McDermott, who is attending a sheriff's conference out of state, texted in this message. Quote, I'm well aware that anything I do will be highly scrutinized, especially by my opponent and his group of anonymous letter writers and commenters in an effort to insinuate unethical behavior, if for no other reason because they haven't gotten past the sheriff's election more than 2 years ago. Throughout the 4-month purchase of Montana Electronics, Jason Johnson and I worked with our personal attorneys to make sure we could move forward with this personal business endeavor in a manner that avoided any type of conflicts in my position. That ultimately led to me seeking a written legal opinion and guidance from the county attorney's office as an extra precautionary step. The sheriff's office has not done any business with Montana Electronics since the purchase. The sheriff's office will not be doing any business directly with me, with Montana Electronics moving forward. By the nature of the business, the Motorola dealer, if it becomes essential for the sheriff's office to conduct business, I'll recuse myself from that process, and any and all business will go through a different county department, such as the Office of Emergency Management. I'm still in the process of working out those details. He's still quoting here, "I take my position of sheriff very seriously and would never do anything to jeopardize the public trust of my office," end quote. That from Sheriff T.J. McDermott. Officials have opened 2 watercraft inspection stations as part of the state's plan to prevent the spread of invasive mussels. The Daily Interlake reports that the Flathead Basin Commission opened the inspection stations Friday in Pablo and also at Clearwater Junction. Early Sunday morning, police responded to a hit-and-run that escalated into an assault on a peace officer. Police Public Information Officer Travis Welsh has more.
At about 2 a.m., officers were called to the report of a hit-and-run accident involving 3 parked and unoccupied vehicles located in the 1300 block of Catlin Street. Through investigative efforts at the scene, officers were able to contact the driver of that vehicle at his residence nearby.
Apparently, 24-year-old David Hooper left his vehicle near the accident, and police used that to find his residence. Police say Hooper seemed agitated and became aggressive after they questioned him about the crash.
He suddenly began resisting their efforts and started to actively fight with the officers. It seems at one point when they got close to a patrol car after Mr. Hooper had been placed in handcuffs, he forced himself backwards by kicking off of one of the patrol cars and actually landed on the top of one of the arresting officers.
One of the officers suffered minor injuries in that scuffle. Hooper's assault added a felony charge on top of other misdemeanors. 34-year-old Earl Perrine appeared in Missoula Justice Court on 2 counts of felony assault yesterday with a weapon. The Deputy Missoula County Attorney Mark Handelman has details of that incident.
The defendant stabbed a father and a son when they encountered him acting suspiciously at a residence. Upon law enforcement's arrival, the defendant began to run, and the law enforcement had to release a canine to help apprehend the defendant. We'd be requesting a $50,000 bail to run concurrent with his bail set in his district court matters, which is currently at $100,000.
The wounds to the victims were not life-threatening, but both did require medical treatment at St. Patrick Hospital. Judge Landy Holloway set bail for Perrine at $50,000 to run concurrently with his previous $100,000 bail. He was remanded to the Missoula County Jail. His next court appearance scheduled for March 20th. Our News Talk time now is 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly cloudy skies today with our daytime highs in the mid-30s. We will see a mix of rain and snow late this afternoon, but become all snow overnight tonight with an additional dusting to as much as 2 inches possible. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for Missoula's KECI 13.